everything that's in the way of getting that variable by itself. There's a square root, and there's a times 2, yes? Okay, what do we have to get rid of first? I have to get rid of the square root first. What gets rid of a square root? Squaring. The opposite operation, just like you have been doing in math since the 6th grade when your teacher first did x plus 7 equals 13 and taught you to take away 7, x equals 6. Since then, you've been doing that exact same thing over and over and over again. So right now, that square root is a problem that must be gotten rid of. So you do the opposite operation, which you all know is squaring. When you square a radicand, what is the root of 9 squared? 9, because that is 3 times 3, which means I take out a group of 2, I get 3. 3 squared is 9. So, if it works once in math, how often does it work? Always. So if you square a radical, the radicand is the answer. So this side is now 2x. But if you do something to the left side of an equation, you must do it to the right side of an equation, or it is no longer equal. So I must square this side too. So that equals 9. Now, what is in the way of 2 being by itself? The 2. What math is the 2 performing? So I do the inverse operation to get rid of it, which is divide. X equals 9 halves. I know that's a fraction. You're not used to having fractions, but that's the answer. End of discussion. That's what x equals, right? If you're in doubt, that right there says x equals 9 halves. I have that right now. What is x? 9 halves. So that is 2 times 9 halves. What happens to the 2 and the 2? Some of you will say, I'm not sure, Mr. Myers. Okay, then multiply this out. 2 times 9 is 18 over 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. The 2's cancel, like they've been doing when you've been doing algebra since the 6th grade. So now I have the square root of 9. What is the square root of 9? 3. Does 3 equal 3? Yes. That is the only math you need to know to do this that is new. That's it. Everything else you already know how to do. So let's try another easy one. You can try it on your own, and we'll see where it gets us. 7 equals the root of 5 minus 2x. Now, some kids will honestly say to me with a straight face that they don't know how to do this because the letter's on the right. Don't be that kid. Okay? Go. I'm going to write up a few of these. And then I'm going to go around and I'm going to put some radical equations around the board, on the boards. You are going to get into groups of 3 or 4 and go try to solve them. When I say groups of 3 or 4, that does not mean you all gravitate to one smart person who you know can do it and then stand there while they do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mix your groups up. Sorry, I have to erase
Yeah.
right answers up here. You can be checking up here while you're doing that. If you know what you're doing, you're welcome to carry on with 69 and 70 and make sure it's done right.
I understand it. I just have one question, which is, what is an extraneous root?
The roots that don't work.
Roots that don't work?
Yes.
So then how would you tell without working it out?
Because some of those are going to eat. Never mind. You got to figure it out. What makes a root not allowed?
It doesn't equal.
Before you do the work, what makes a root not allowed? Yeah, you do. Is that possible? So you know what makes a root not allowed. So have a look at that and see if you can figure it out. Those are the right answers to the 4 on the board. Please check and make sure you're doing it right whilst you attempt the sheets. Sheet is done. Is everybody listening to me? If you are working on a sheet, you hang it up like Bea has done. Then you go and you check somebody else's. And you make sure they are right. Then we will talk about all of them, and you can go back to your desk and work on 69 and 70. If you don't need me, you're going to work. You all say you can tune out stuff and still concentrate? Shouldn't be a problem. That's right. Right now, maybe I will check all your work. What do you need to do with those two x's? Okay, so what's 3 times 10? 25. Let's turn 25. 5 plus 5, 10. The other side is 10. So does 10 work? 10 works. Check 3. What's 3 times 3? Minus 5. 4. What's 5 plus 4? There you go. And of course, if you know what you are doing, you are working on page 69 and 70.
I just have a question though. Just for the Bible inspection without the last one, which one has an extraneous? I feel like that's an extra one. I don't know.
So you might lose 1 mark.
That's hard.
I don't know, I feel like there's only
No, it's fine. I got you.
Somebody erased her question.
I have to fix these guys up first. Do you have any idea what it was? Negative 2 at the start. Over the summer? Yeah, I do. I usually only do 10. I apply for it. I have no idea. Do we want light back there? Hey, babe, you had a question. What? Now remember, you can always check, right? All right. Has everybody checked somebody else? Has everybody done something on a sheet? Or some of their own work? They've been working on their own. Are you good to go, ladies? You have an answer? Back corner, how's it going? Toj. I don't know, can you? Sure.
I know.
They're all exactly the same.
Really? Then, like, that is so much better compared to ours?
They're all exactly the same.
Maybe we just don't show as much work.
That's yours?
No, that's ours.
Yeah. They're exactly the same. You isolate the radical, you square the radical.
But we're just talking about how, like, the work, it looks like it's harder because there's so much
Yeah,
work.
but it's not. If I give you 100 addition questions or 10 addition questions, which one is harder? They're the same. Which one is more time consuming? The 100. All right, has everybody got their sheet up?
Yeah.
Girls in the middle. Sheet up. Is it done?
Oh, sure.
Pin it up.
It's not done.
Should we go?
Pin it up. Let's go. Back corner. How's yours? Is it done?
Okay.
Right there, yeah? Okay, you can put it up at the front. There's no hooks back there. Put it up here.
Where? Here, you got an extra hook on the left side. And I can move these?
Yep. All right. Let's start back here. Who did this one? Did you check it? Did you put 33 back in there? What is 33? What is 33 plus 19? 42. 52. What is 33 minus 2? 31. Do either of those have a square root? So you probably did something not quite hot here, right? Okay. Start fixing it. Because you didn't check it. This group. What is 6 plus 5? You work here. 11. What is 2 times 6? Minus 1? Does the root of 11 equal the root of 11? So is this kid right? Good job, this group. They're all the exact same.
Oh, they're not. You see that?
Yes, they are all the same. All right, here. What is this group trying to do? They're trying to isolate the radicals. So they're getting rid of everything else. Minus 3 has to add. Could they have slid that over and just written plus 3? Of course they could. 15 equals 5, 8 minus x. 5 times 8 minus x, so they divide. 3 equals 8 minus x. Square both sides. 9 equals 8 minus x. Subtract 8 from both sides. 1 equals negative x. Divide by negative 1. X equals negative 1. Then we check. What is 8 minus negative 1? 9. What's square root of 9? What's 5 times 3? What's 15 minus 3? 12. Are they right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Over here. Isolate the radical. They moved the 5 over. Negative 5. They squared both sides. 3x minus 5, because you just get rid of the radical. Then they squared this, and they remembered to square it effectively. And they got x squared minus 10x plus 25, to which...
We grouped the 3x on the left side.
Oh, you brought the 3x over. All right, I got you. You brought the 5 over. So then you wrote it this way, and then you did negative 10 and negative 3, 10. And then they went and checked. What's 3 times 10?
30.
What's 30 minus 5? What's the square root of 25? Is 5 plus 5x, which is 10? So they're correct. Their other option was 3. What's 3 times 3? What's 9 minus 5? 4. What's square root of 4? What's 5 plus 2? 7, not 3. So they got the 10 right. Up to the front. Did these people do it right? Was the radical isolated? Was the radical isolated? So they squared. They got rid of the radical sign and they squared both sides. Is that step good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now what's wrong? You got to subtract 64. Are we still okay? Now we got to factor that. Positive 32 minus 32. There they are. They didn't check, but they're right. You actually ran them through there? You did 32 squared?
Yeah, we checked.
Nice work. Okay, here we go. Are we happy with their first step?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes.
I think so. That's lovely. Then we square. Lovely. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. Yes. Plus 1. Excellent. Here we go. Oh, look at this slick move. They multiplied by 3 to get j plus 1. They multiplied this side by 3. Lovely. Then what? They brought over the j's, then they factored, and they got negative 2/3 and 1/4, negative 1/4, which they, of course, checked both of them.
Did not check both of them. That's where we stopped.
But they did some, I like the restrictions work over here. If they'd had time to check it, they would have found negative 2/3 was right, negative 1/4 didn't work. These people, what's wrong here? Radicals on both sides. So what did they do? They isolated one, squared both sides, did the math, collected the like terms, got, is that a 5? That's a 5?
Don't judge my five.
That's a 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's right. Okay, gentlemen, what we got? All right, so, class, we are not putting down anybody because everybody needed this because nobody had their work ready for me. So, are we right with moving this over to here? Did that isolate a radical? Are they right? Excellent. Once a radical is isolated, what do you want to do? Get rid of it, the square. Are they right? So what should I write here? X plus 14. But I got to square this side, right? 19. I got to square this side now, right? That's a binomial. You're in the 11th grade. How do you square x plus 3 squared? What do you do? It is x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? So what are you doing there? Same thing. So I need to multiply by 7 minus the root of x minus 2. What is 7 times 7? 49. Minus 7x root 2 minus 7x root 2 is minus 14 root x minus 2, right? And what is x minus 2 times x minus 2? Positive x minus 2, right? Because you're squaring a radical, so the radicand's the answer. Now, we see another radical. What do we need to do? Isolate it. So how am I going to get rid of this? Minus 49. Minus 49. How am I going to get rid of this? I got to get a minus x over here and a positive 2, yes? What is x minus x? Gone. 19 minus 49 is negative 30 plus 2 is negative 28 equals negative 14 root x minus 2. Now how do I isolate the power? The radical. Divide by negative 14. Divide by negative 14. Positive 2 equals the root of x minus 2. Is that isolated?
No. Oh, yeah.
What is your job once the radical is isolated? The same thing it has been on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 87 questions we've done. Square. What do I have to do to the other side? Square. 4 equals x minus 2. Is x isolated?
No.
Isolated. Plus 2 plus 2. 6 equals x. Am I done?
No.
Check it.
Check it. What is 6 plus 19? What is square root of 25? What is 6 minus 2? What is square root of 4? What is 5 plus 2? Are we right?
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, tell me, does it matter how much board you have to fill up?
No.
No, because each step is a step you learned when?
Grade 9.
Not that young.
Grade 6.
Is there any math you have done to solve these, anything you needed to know that you didn't tell me? Think back to yesterday when we started radical equations. When we started radical equations yesterday, I said, I have the video of it, I wrote the square root of x. And I said, how do you get rid of that? And you all said, square it. You all knew that already. How many times have you heard me say, if it happens once in math, it happens every time? Every single day. So if the square root of x squared gets you x, then the square root of 3x minus 7 squared is 3x minus 7. If you need to go to the bathroom, just go. All right? Okay? You guys have to stop this. There is nothing new in this entire curriculum. There is nothing new in grade 11. Every single thing you've done before. You just have to bring it to the party. Okay? Now, I want 69 and 70 completed today. Is there anybody that has done them completely, including the last question? 3 people. You do know how to do it because we talked about inspection, right? I will give you a nice big hint for how to do the last question. Here is a nice big hint for how to do the last question. Can you solve the equation I am about to write on the board? Remember, you can't do any math. You just have to look at it. Is there an answer to that?
Yeah.
Why not, Tiffany? You can never have a square root that equals a negative number. Why? Because square root means the exact same factor, yes? And wouldn't negative 9 times negative 9 be 81? But in this unit, we are looking for the principal square root, yes? Which is the positive one. If one of you were to say, but Mr. Myers, we can solve that. We'll square both sides, and we'll get x equals 81, right? Except it doesn't, because when you put 81 back in here, you cannot get that one because you need it to be positive. Okay? So now look at those 3 questions, because you don't need to do all of this for some of them. Have a look, see if you can figure it out. If you can't, you might lose a mark. I don't understand why that frightens you all so much when you're willing to hand me in tests with blank questions. You're all willing to lose. You'd rather stab yourself in the eye than lose a mark on an assignment, but you'll hand me in a test question out of 5 totally blank. If you are done, yo. The extraneous root is a root that can't exist. So there's 2 ways to find it. Either it's one like that behind Marcos, where they had 2 answers, 10 and 3, and 3 didn't work. That's an extraneous root. Because the only reason that we find it is if the only reason that you can get an extraneous root is because we square. Right? Like what I wrote up there is impossible until you square both sides. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please listen. Please listen. Blocks are slightly shorter today. And the block will be ending. Not now. The block will be ending. They didn't bother putting it on the app. So the block should end at 1. It's going to be ending at 12:55, which is in 10 minutes. Please listen. Tomorrow's a short day because it's X block, right? So I'm going to use that short day to do two things. One, fill in the 2 blank pages, review for your test. 2, mark 69 and 70. Okay? If there's time left over, I'm going to introduce the next thing because it relies very heavily on this unit. I know you're taking 2 weeks off, but I got to fill up the time tomorrow anyway. Obviously, you're writing a test Friday. I'm out of days. I expected to be marking 6970 today, doing the review today, and giving you your test tomorrow and taking Friday off. But that did not come to fruition. So, you will be right, and I know I don't want to announce test days. I know that some of you may not be here Friday. That is your problem.
I thought we already agreed we were all going to be here Friday.
Yeah, but things change, Sophia. So you should all be here every day. And yet, often my attendance has a few A's on it.
I haven't skipped.
All right, everybody good? All right. Carry on. If you want some extra practice, here are 4 more you could try.
We're not going over. Yes.
And if you really crazy, and I'm writing it in red for danger, cube root 3x minus 1 plus 7 equals 3. Hola. That is bad-ass. Jacqueline Summer.
Right. How would I tell that one is extraneous just by looking at it?
What makes an extraneous root? I just drew it on the board. Why is there an Why is there an extraneous root?
When none of the numbers that you're given.
Solve that one.
I did doing the round.
The radical's already I solved it for you. Square both sides. Square. Oh. Square. Right? 3x squared. What is square a radical? Why are you squaring it? To get rid of this. So what's the answer on the left side? X. What's negative 9 squared? 81. Cool? Now we check. Square root of 81 equals negative 9. In math, that symbol means we want the positive root, right? Is that positive? Because the positive root of 81 is 9. Is 9 equal negative 9? So this root, which we were able to find using math, is extraneous because it's an impossible answer. So what made it impossible? Can I have a square that equals a negative? So if you look at that, you should be able to tell by looking if you ever have a radical that equals a negative? Just by looking.
Putting 2 because when you move this over, that's going to be negative. But
Okay, so when you move that over, you're going to get negative 7.
yeah.
Is that okay? No. So you know that one's dead. This one.
That one's also going to be negative.
Is it?
Well, when you move the 4 over,
When you move the 4 over, it's going to become positive, right? This, or it's going to be negative, right?
yes.
What's that right there?
It's a negative.
Yeah. So you would have to isolate that by dividing by negative 1, right?
Yeah.
If you divide that by negative 1 and a negative by a negative 1, what do you get? So it's okay.
Okay,
What about
that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so today's video is going to be weird because I accidentally let it record the whole day. So you're going to hear me talking from the back of the room. You're going to hear people asking to go to the bathroom.